It had been a long, exhausting week. Between work, errands, and dealing with a few lingering house repairs, I was more than ready for a quiet weekend. My name is Melissa Carter. I'm 42 years old, a real estate agent in Nashville, and recently remarried. My husband, Jonathan, had a son from his previous marriage, Nathan. He was 20, respectful, helpful around the house, and quiet most of the time. He moved in with us last year to save money while attending community college, and to be honest, we'd had a relatively peaceful coexistence. Jonathan had left on a 3-day business trip to Dallas that morning. I dropped him at the airport around 6 a.m., came home, and immediately collapsed back into bed. I didn't wake up until nearly noon. When I did, the house was still and quiet, bathed in soft light pouring through the kitchen window. I shuffled out of bed in my robe and headed to make myself a late breakfast. Nathan's door was shut, and I figured he was sleeping in or working on his online classes. After grabbing coffee and a slice of toast, I settled in the living room with my laptop to check emails. Hours passed uneventfully. By evening, I ordered Chinese takeout and texted Nathan to come eat. He didn't respond. I figured he had headphones on like usual. I walked over to knock and let him know dinner was here. As I reached his door, I heard a soft sound. At first, I thought he was talking on the phone, maybe with a friend. I knocked gently. "Nathan? Dinner's here." There was a pause. Then some shuffling. "Yeah, one SSE," he called out. A moment later, he opened the door, his cheeks slightly red, hair tousled, and his eyes a bit wide. "Thanks, Melissa. I'll be out in a bit." "No rush. Just letting you know." I smiled, though a little part of me wondered why he looked so flustered. But I let it go. We had dinner separately that night, which was unusual. Normally, Nathan made a point of joining us. I chalked it up to school stress. Still, something about how uneasy he looked stuck with me. Maybe it was a mom instinct kicking in, even if I wasn't his biological mother. The next afternoon, I decided to do some cleaning. Jonathan always appreciated coming home to a spotless house, and I had the energy to tackle the clutter in the laundry room. I gathered towels and clothes from both bathrooms and peeked into Nathan's room to collect his laundry. I knocked and waited, but no answer. I slowly pushed the door open and found the room empty. His laptop was on the desk, his phone charging beside it. He must have gone out. I started gathering clothes from the floor and hamper when I noticed a stack of sketchbooks on his desk. Nathan had always been into art, but I'd never seen much of his work. Curiosity nudged me. I picked up the top book and flipped it open. The first few pages were landscapes, mountains, lakes, city skylines. Then came portraits, beautifully detailed drawings of faces. I recognized one immediately. It was me. Not a photograph-style rendering, but stylized, strong lines, soft shading. My profile, mid-smile, eyes distant. The next page held another version of me, sitting on the porch swing, coffee mug in hand. A strange flutter ran through my chest. I didn't know Nathan had drawn me. In fact, it felt a little intimate. Not inappropriate, just personal in a way I hadn't expected. I kept flipping. More sketches of me. Laughing, cooking, reading. Then one sketch caught my breath. It was me again, but in a robe like I wore around the house. Except it was loosely drawn, revealing just a hint of my shoulder. I knew it wasn't an exact moment he'd captured, more imagined, idealized. I closed the sketchbook slowly. My heart pounded. Part of me felt like I'd invaded his privacy, but another part couldn't ignore what I'd just seen. There was admiration in those pages, intensity, focus. I tried not to overthink it. When Nathan returned home, I acted like nothing had happened. We made small talk in the kitchen as he grabbed a soda. He seemed relaxed, not aware I'd gone through his things. I told myself not to make it a big deal. The following evening, something else happened. I was heading to the kitchen late at night to get water. The lights were low. As I passed the living room, I noticed Nathan sitting there on the couch, sketchbook in hand, fully focused. He hadn't seen me yet. His pencil moved quickly, his brow furrowed. I watched quietly for a moment. There was something peaceful about his concentration. Then I noticed the subject of the sketch. He was looking at a picture on his phone while drawing. I moved a little closer, curious. That's when I realized it was a photo of me, when I didn't even know he had. He must have taken it candidly. I was in the garden, kneeling by the rose bushes. My hair was tied up, and I had dirt on my cheek, laughing at something Jonathan had said, probably. I remembered that day. I hadn't even known he was nearby. I stepped back quietly and returned to my room, unsure how to process what I'd seen. It wasn't wrong, but it wasn't exactly nothing, either. The next morning, I decided to have a conversation. Over breakfast, I gently brought it up. Hey, Nathan? I saw some of your sketches the other day. You're really talented. He looked up from his cereal, caught off guard. Oh, thanks. I wasn't sure anyone would ever see those. They're really beautiful, especially the ones of people, I continued. You've drawn me quite a bit.
He blushed.
Yeah, I guess. You're just easy to draw. You're around and expressive. I didn't mean anything weird. I know you didn't, I said gently. I'm not upset, just surprised. There was a pause. Then he admitted, sometimes when I'm stressed or stuck, I just draw you. You're kind to me. You listen. It helps. That moment softened something inside me. I reached over and touched his hand. That's sweet, Nathan. Really? I just didn't know I meant that much to you. You do, he said, his voice almost a whisper. The silence after that felt loaded, but not uncomfortable, just heavy with unspoken things. Over the next few days, I noticed how Nathan started lingering more. He'd come into the kitchen when I was cooking and offer to help. He'd stand a little closer than usual, eyes meeting mine longer than before. I didn't know if I was imagining it. Maybe I was just hyper-aware now. Then one rainy afternoon, I came home from showing a house and found Nathan in the living room again, sketching. The storm outside cast a soft gray light into the room. He looked up when I entered, smiling. Drawing again? I asked.
Yeah.
You inspire me, he said without hesitation. I laughed softly. That's a nice compliment. You're more than nice, he said, eyes steady on mine. I think you don't even realize how much presence you have. That stopped me in my tracks. I sat down beside him, not quite sure what to say. His gaze didn't waver. I don't want to make things weird, he added. But sometimes, I catch myself thinking about you more than I probably should. I didn't reply right away. My heart raced, but not in fear or discomfort. It was something else. A strange awareness. I knew lines had to stay clear. I was his stepmother, even if not by blood. But in that moment, I saw him not as Jonathan's son, but as Nathan. A young man with eyes full of emotion, whose presence was steady and sincere. I finally spoke. I understand, Nathan. And I think you're a good person. I care about you too. But we have to be careful, okay? There are boundaries. He nodded. I know. I just wanted to be honest.